Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Max Mobile Celebrity Podcast. I am your host, AJ, along with the two queens here. We got Yushanda and Alicia over in the West Coast.
Hello.
Alicia, I'll tell you,
Hey,
behind bars, girl.
I'm still trying to move
Don't let
today.
me out.
Don't let me out. Let me try
Everybody to the
this.
show. And I want to thank everybody for joining us. And just to give everybody heads up, I know it's been kind of difficult trying to tune in every single week and trying to make sure you get the right link, etc. So I am going to tell you this is our last show on StreamYard. Okay. And as of next week, we're going to be on a new platform, and the new platform is going to allow us to be able to use the same link continuously. And we're also going to have a call-in number for all of our viewers, so they'll be able to call in and be able to join us as well, which is going to be very nice. Okay, so we're going to keep things very simple. Same link every single week, and people will be able to call in along with the chat. We'll also have a chat room as well.
Gotcha.
And today we got another legendary artist. We have a music director, composer. I mean, he does it all. He is. This man has been doing this since looking at his bio, I'm like, he was doing this before we were born. This man was
Seriously.
back in 1958,
Seriously.
and
Awesome.
he's still here, still doing his thing. And his name is Elfie Pollitt. And I tell you, man, this guy is another living legend. We've been very blessed to have some living legends for the last couple of weeks. And so he's going to be joining us a little bit later, around 12:15. He'll be joining us and telling us about his journey, his fantastic story. And Alicia, you look good. You did it perfectly. You look great.
Thank you. I had to make some adjustments around here.
Hey.
It's 9 a.m. over here.
Yeah, you
I
look-
bet. I know.
and Shonda got her new glasses. Got her new
I was-
glasses.
I don't
Well,
I
know
was I was telling AJ, I was like, look, we gotta get ourselves together to be on camera now. You can't just like get up. It's like you gotta put on face and hair and you gotta do stuff. So I get it,
Yeah.
girl.
Look, I was on set all day yesterday. I still got on some of the makeup from yesterday. I came here passed out. I said, Lord have mercy. That was
Hey.
a long day.
Well,
But
you
you know
look
what?
fab.
You do. You look good.
You too. You too.
Both
Both
of
of
you look
y'all.
very good. You make our show look great. And you know what? At the end of the day, with all this pandemic and everything that's going on, we got to be very blessed that we are working, because a lot of people
Mhm.
out here out of work. So I'm glad that you were on the set doing your filming, Alicia. That's a good thing.
That's what's up.
Thank you. Thank
Sean,
you.
I already know about your job. That job is killing you, but
That's all good. You know.
yeah, it's all good because we're able to pay our bills and make a living and stuff.
Yeah.
We got some
Yeah.
we got some great things coming up. I'm going to tell this towards the end of the show.
Okay.
But towards the end of the show, me and my technical team, we're launching a brand new website. First of all, we're going to have a podcast website. So that's what we're on. That's what we're working on right now. So I'm going to launch it right on my birthday, May 22nd next month. And we're going to launch a brand new podcast website. So you'll be able to, our viewers will be able to go online and you look at some of the past shows. They'll be able to get everything all in one place. And so they got to
Oh,
worry
nice.
about Facebook, ain't got to worry about going to YouTube. They can get everything all in one spot. They'll be able to see
That's what's up.
the show. So it's going to be really nice. And it's going to
Yeah.
like that. So that's what we're working on right now. And so we're pretty excited about that. And we're pretty excited about having Elfie, another legendary composer, pianist. I mean, this man does it all. He's worked with some of the greatest artists from our time. And I tell you, like Norman Connors. Norman Connors is one of my favorite.
Mm.
These kids are there. I know you millennium, you don't know who this is. You don't know who these artists are. And but these are the artists that your parents grew up with listening to.
Yes, 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 yes.
Some timeless music is what they did. They left this music that is definitely timeless, and so that's why we take our time to give recognition to a lot of these artists who have done it for multiple years, 4 or 5 generations, and been doing it well, and we're some of the best artists that's ever been on this planet. And we listening to Teddy Pendergrass, listening to Yes, last week it kind of threw me a little bit when we had our guest Benjamin Wright, and
Hmm.
it hit me until after the show. After the show, I was sitting here talking to my friend Johnny, and we're talking about Benjamin. And I started looking at the list of thinking about Prince and Michael Jackson, some of the greatest artists that ever that ever graced this planet. And I'm sitting here thinking, I said, he has worked with Michael Jackson, he's worked with James Ingram, he's worked with
Ooh,
Maurice White, and they're not here.
They're
yeah,
not here.
It didn't hit me until afterwards, Shonda. I was sitting here thinking, I was like, wow, he's outlived all of these great artists.
yeah.
Yep.
And so one of the things that I'm speaking to Benjamin, Elfie, and Johnny, and Tom Tom, we're going to put together a show. And what we're doing is we're going to talk to a lot of the younger artists that are like in their 20s and 30s. And because we want them to know what longevity is all about.
Hmm.
Because we have lost so many of my favorite artists. Even
Yes.
Whitney. Whitney's one of my
Ooh.
and I had
Yes. Mine too.
yeah,
Hmm.
I had a pleasure. This is one of the best singers that graced us as well. And all of these great, and people, a lot of these young musicians don't even realize how great Prince was.
Man, how could you not? Prince is the
Played
truth.
every instrument.
Prince was
Ooh.
multi instrumentalist. I mean, he did so much. What a lot of people don't know, he started out actually with the Time
Yep.
and
Hmm.
Rich Day and all them. They grew up together, and they're actually cousins. And so he wanted to go ahead and do his own thing, so he separated and started doing his thing. But that brother there, that boy is so phenomenal. Talking about
Ridiculous.
and a lot of
Have
people,
y'all ever got to see him live?
yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
You ever get to see him? Oh man, wasn't that just
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
experience that you
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
never ever in your life forget?
Yes. Yes. I saw
Cause
him in the '80s with Sheila E. as the drummer.
woo,
And they would turn the lights out at the Capitol Center in DC, and their drums would glow in the dark.
so glowing up,
We lost it.
man. She's a bad one too. I saw him. It had to be after the year 2000. I saw him in Philly, and he brought Patti LaBelle on stage to sing with him. But what really impressed me, you know how a lot of the headliners they take a break and they let their band play.
Right.
Yeah.
Prince ain't do that. Let his band take a break, and he got on every single one of their instruments and played a song.
Yeah.
He just went around the stage and just sat down at the drums, played the drums and sang. And then he got up and got on this guitar, this piano, this keyboard. He got on every single band member's instrument and played.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. See
who
that?
tells their band to take a break
Yeah.
But look,
as the headliner?
that was his subtle way of saying, any of you Negroes don't show up for work.
Right.
I got this.
I got this. Right? I was thinking the same thing. He was like, none of y'all ever get it twisted, because I
Yeah,
can
he's
do
like,
what you
y'all
do.
play them games
What?
if you want to. The show will go on.
Alicia, could you imagine auditioning for Prince?
No, I would have
Could
had
you
a heart
imagine
attack.
what kind of pressure that is? You got to be a bad musician to go ahead
Yeah.
because you got to audition for him. So
Yeah,
But,
you're
you
not gonna fool
This
him.
was
Or
funny
trying
as
to-
heck.
or
He was
trying
not
to be
impressed
one
with
of-
nobody.
Trying to be one of Janet Jackson's dancers in the choreography audition.
Control.
Ooh, Janet sitting there looking at you like, girl, why you coming in here?
I'm glad you brought that up, Alicia, because you know what? We don't have any more of those shows anymore. I remember the very first Earth, Wind, and Fire show that I went to, and I was in high school.
Mm.
I went to the Earth, Wind, and Fire show, and that's when they had both. They had two drummers, and what they did, they turned off the lights, and it was the stage was totally blacked out. Next thing you know, the light comes back on, and you see the drum kit. The person behind the drum is still playing, and it's rising in the air.
Oh,
The
that's
entire
what's
set. I'm talking about the entire drum set is rising in the
up.
air.
Drum set.
Then it got to a certain level and started rotating. And he's still playing. He's sitting in the seat with the whole kit rotating. And I'm saying, this is something like back in the what was this? This is back in the 70s. So it just goes to show about how,
Wow.
It's artists, the things that they come up with is just unbelievable.
Wow.
That's phenomenal. But we have another phenomenal composer, Alfie Pollitt, that's going to be joining us. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a quick commercial break real quick, and then we're going to come back and we're going to have Alfie on our show to tell us about his wonderful journey. So you're listening to the Max Mobile Celebrity Podcast, and we'll be back.
Here's 4 reasons your business needs to go mobile today. 1. If your site or mobile app is hard to use on a mobile device, you'll drive your customers to your competitors. 61% of people said that they'd quickly move on to another site if they don't find what they're looking for right away. If they don't like what they do find, 79% will look elsewhere. 2. Having a mobile-friendly site can boost your business. 74% of people say that they're more likely to return to a mobile-friendly site in the future. 3. You may not get a second chance. First impressions are powerful and lasting. 46% of people won't return to a website they'd had trouble accessing on a phone, and 57% won't recommend it. 4. Good mobile experiences can drive revenue. 67% of mobile users say that they're more likely to buy a product or use a service offered by a mobile-friendly experience. Create a mobile app and mobile website today and gain an edge over your competition.
Okay, welcome back. Oh, we lost our queen already. Anyway, I want to proudly introduce another living legend. This is a music living legend today. Alfred, I tell you, his name is Alfie Pollitt. I was surprised when I found that his name is Alfred. We have the same name. We're both named Alfred as well. And I want to say I'm so proud to be able to be in the grace of this person with this legend. When I say he's a legend, his bio is unbelievable. The things that he's been able to accomplish, and we're very proud to have him on the show. So thank you, Alfie, for joining us. Welcome to the Maximum.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
How you doing, my brother? And I got to tell you, man, your bio is really incredible, very incredible. We're going to wait till for our queen come back. I don't know what happened to her, but Alfie, tell us, I need to know exactly, our viewers like to know, how did you get started in the music business? I knew you was a kid, but what was it? Was it church? Was it, a band that you played in? How did you get started?
Well, I'm originally from a place called Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania, a suburb of Philadelphia. And my mother and father played instruments. My father played cello in a black symphony orchestra called Philadelphia Concert Orchestra, which existed from the 1930s to the 1960s. My mother played cello, violin, and we had a piano in the home. So when I was 3 years old, my mother took me around the corner to my godmother, Teresa Tucker, to be my piano teacher. We, studied like classics, Western classics, Beethoven and what have you, played recitals, all that. And how I got started in the music business, a guy named Nate Murray back in the 50s gave me my first gig playing.
Oh, that's phenomenal. So what was it like watching your parents practice? Were you ever involved in any of their rehearsals?
Say that again, please.
When you were growing up watching your parents and as far as in the music, were you actually in the room rehearsing with your dad?
Yeah, because my father had a string quartet. He was a member of a string quartet. They used to rehearse at night sometime in our home. We'd be in bed, we could hear him downstairs, but sometimes we come down and check him out and then we say, tell us to go up in bed.
That is phenomenal. That's phenomenal.
Yes.
Trying to go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just listening. Like, that's just phenomenal. So, Mr. Pollitt, I don't feel comfortable calling you Alfie.
You can feel free. Come on.
I was raised differently. You know how them old school mamas are like, you just better respect your elders, and out of a sign of respect. But how many musical instruments do you play?
Well, I played piano type instruments.
Okay.
Piano. When I worked with Teddy Pendergrass, I played grand piano and I played Fender Rhodes, suitcase piano.
Fender Rhodes, wow.
But I did play synthesizers and Like the keyboard here I have here is a synthesizer, etc.
Mm-hmm. You play the organ as well?
No, I leave that to the profession. Like Charlie Irwin, you heard of Charles Irwin?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Charlie, we're good friends. When he used to play alto sax for Jimmy McGriff, and then he got into organ. And then a friend of mine named Eric Henderson was playing drums for him, and Charlie first started out playing organ. I used to go, he used to help carry that organ, for us. Rough.
Wow.
But people like Harold Thompson, who's great in the gospel world, internationally, grew up together in November, Pennsylvania, and he's this great organist, Jimmy Smith, Jimmy. I met Ruth Holmes and McGriff.
Gotcha. You still playing now?
Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what I do.
He said, "That's what I do, girl."
Thank God,
Hey, Alfie, I gotta ask you this though. I don't have a problem with you, Alfie. I gotta ask you this though. Did you ever get a chance back in the day? Did you ever get a chance to meet or play with Billy Preston?
No, but we were doing a show with Teddy at the Roxy in L.A. and Billy and Bob Marley came to the show, and he was in the dressing room. We met him.
Oh, okay. Because you're talking about organ.
That's
That's the
the
first
closest
person
I
I
came.
think about Billy Preston.
Closest I came next to the radio.
Yeah, that's a bad boy. Phenomenal. And I got to ask you this though: when you started playing the keyboards, and who was actually your instructor? How did you start when you playing key? Who was your instructor? Was it your father?
No, my godmother. Her name is Teresa A. Tucker. And,
You said your godmother?
yeah, my godmother.
Okay.
She used to do stuff like. Things like that.
Okay.
And playing recitals as a child with other young people and folks who were like older than myself as well. Pretty much I learned how, I was reading songs, but I mostly learned how to, play by ear. Mostly.
Gotcha.
I'm not a fluent reader, but,
Not full reader.
Fluent.
Okay.
No, I'm not trying to read you, miss. I had these attacks. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're quite fine.
And one question I want to ask you too: who are some of with all the people that you have played with? There's always going to be a group of people or one particular person that was kind of like your favorite. Who's some of your favorite artists? I not to put you on the spot, but we all have our favorites of people that we have worked with in the past. Who are some of your favorites?
Well, I just have to say just a few real quick people. Johnny Hartman, the singer. The Four Tops. The Tramps. One time we were doing a show with Teddy in London, concert. The last number of the show was Teddy, Stephanie, Stevie Wonder sat in with us.
Oh.
Wow. Stevie Wonder sat in.
Yeah. I met Michael Jackson and his brothers and his father at Philly International when they were assigned there, because one of my wedding partners was pitching them songs and said, "You want to meet Michael and them?" I said, "Yeah." So I met them.
Wow. I know that was that was a party right there, bro. There with Stevie.
Wow.
Oh, I must say, Russell Tompkins Jr., the lead singer of the Stylistics, I've been blessed to have him as my piano student. He is a great singer. He's got the same voice. Him and his wife, they lovely people, down to earth, no highfalutin, no put on no airs, nothing like that. Lovely folk.
Wow.
And he didn't pay me to say that.
Wow.
Incredible.
That's awesome. And you work with some powerhouse female vocalists too. So Stephanie Mills, I know
Uh-huh.
when you heard her voice, she just knocked you out, huh?
Martha Reeves.
Martha Reed.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
I worked with Ruth Brown once.
Damn,
Nina Simone and I were very good friends.
Oh, Nina Simone. Tell us about that
Nina
because
Simone.
she
Yes.
was a character. She has so much personality, and she was just
Yes.
such a big person. Like her persona was just overall. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like working with her?
Well, Nina, I met her when I was working with Teddy. I walked through a department store called Watermakers in Philadelphia one day.
Oh yeah.
And I saw a woman getting her face made up. I think it was like in a fashion fair counter or something like that. Counter. So I waited. I got a chance to meet her, and it was Nina. So we talked. She was telling me her father had recently passed, so she was in Philly taking care of some family business, and she needed a bass player and a drummer. So I was blessed to hook Tony Jones up on bass with her. We got him Eddie Jones on drums. Now Eddie was working with Billy Paul at the time, so he couldn't stay. When he left, Lucky Thompson from Philly was playing. But Nina took me to a show one time. We went to see Joe Simon and Ray Charles. And then after the show, backstage, I met Ray Charles.
Mm.
Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Reverend Aloysius Hezekiah Charles,
Wow. That's
Aloysius.
awesome.
the high priest of bebop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Who are some of your influences when it comes to your style, your playing, your composing?
Kashif,
That's what it is.
Leon Silvers,
Wow.
Oh,
Prince,
yes.
Herbie Hancock, McCoy Tyner, Bud Powell, Art Tatum, Prince, I said Prince, Leon Huff, Brian Have Mercy Kersey, so many people. I mean, guitar players, Norman Harris, Roland Chambers, Carl Chambers, Bobby Martin, Ranger, Tom Bell, Ranger,
Woohoo.
so many people.
Alfie, that's a heck of a journey, my brother.
No, it's a heck of a journey.
Yeah. Alfie, I gotta tell you now, who is you said your wife is joining us today?
My lady friend, yes.
Okay, what's her name?
Her name is Vivian.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm going to join her. I just wanted to make sure.
She's also a singer. She's known as Vivian the Entertainer.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and add Vivian on to the show here. Hello, Vivian. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Every time I get a chance, we put our feet on the floor. It's a blessed day.
I can't go nowhere.
No, you can't help me.
I like that picture behind you, Vivian. Of that granddad. I like that. That picture behind you. I like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice.
So, Alfie, your journey has been incredible with all of these different artists and the people you have worked with. I was just talking to Alicia and our two queens here just prior to you coming on, talking about how when Benjamin was with us, Benjamin Wright, and he's actually outlived a lot of these great artists. And so, what is your? I'm going to basically not going to say your secret, but what is your? How do you fix yourself? How did you create such longevity?
How did I do what?
How did you create such longevity?
Well, one thing, I've been a vegan vegetarian for like 45, 46 years.
Okay.
I was on the road as a vegetarian. Matter of fact, when I was in Vegas one time, Stephanie Mills had me go to the health food store and get some cayenne and some golden seal for her. But, it's a blessing to, and I've been blessed to be friended with a lot of people like in the holistic field, Dr. Dick Gregory, Dr. John Moore, Dr. Africa, Queen of Flora, Dr. Sabi, Dr. Cayenne, Dr. Bogus, El Hakian, so many people. and it's really helped me to focus on the music I do and lifestyle and that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Because back in the '60s, I was part of the younger movement, the wave of people underneath McCoy Tyner, Freddie Hubbard, and those people, and we got introduced to substance. So we were, I was caught up. So, and we called ourselves getting high, but it was really lowering ourselves. But high, I found out after I was blessed to be away from that out of my life. High means elevate. That's a real high. You know, stuff like Earth, Wind, Fire, hot, and so on and so forth. You know.
And I do got to ask you, this is my last question. I got to ask you this. What was it like? He's one of my favorite artists. What was it like working with Norman Connors?
Well, Norman and I and Billy Paul all used to live together in downtown Philadelphia back in the '60s.
Wow.
We hung in a place called Rittenhouse Square. You know, like in the gangs and then the corner. That was our corner. We ran the center of the park, called the park.
Cool.
And so we had a lot of friends who were visual artists, poets, second story men, panhandlers, shoplifters, on and on. And we lived in a studio loft room. Well, I used to crash there. I lived there. But, so every day, for a long time, Norm and I would be together. And we would play together. And we were also fans of John Coltrane. Whenever Train would come to town, we'd go there, check out him, Elton Jones, Jimmy Garrison, McCoy Tyner. One time I caught Coltrane when Eric Dobbins sat in with him. I was blessed one time to sit in with Coltrane when he had Trout Saunders, Alice Coltrane, Rashid Ali, Garrison, and in the band, you know.
It's awesome. Hitters.
So we know I was dealing with substances at that time, so that gave me false courage to ask that man to sit in with him. Man, he let me do it. Yeah. Hey, what can I say? I don't remember much of it, but I know I was.
You know you were there.
I remember that. It wasn't a hallucination.
Oh, right. You said false substance. Well, at least you know that falseness got you up there and got you playing true, and it didn't knock your abilities. I'm laughing because you're naming all these places. See, I'm a Camden girl, so I'm from the Philly. I'm from the Philly Annex.
Leon Huff and all that.
Yeah. I'm from the Philly Annex, so I know all these places you're talking about, and listening. You know, my dad and my grandparents, and they all have the same type of stories. It's just so incredible. But Coltrane, man, he was a deep cat too. So you don't remember? I was going to ask you about it, but you don't remember because you said them substances had you.
But no, I'm like, who knows? Tommy, come on now.
But I was going to ask you what that experience was like, because a lot of us, we listen and we grew up on certain types of music, but to actually understand what it's like to actually be in the environment and play and sing and do, it's just like, I want to know what that's like, Well,
I'll give you a different, for instance. When I was blessed to work with the Four Tops, with the original Four Tops, all four down-to-earth people, I needed a ride from Philly. They told me to come to the hotel. I rode up to them, to the show with them and back to Philly. And to hear that great music and to have a full string section and horns and all that stuff. And we were on the show with the Fifth Dimension. And it was like an out-of-body experience.
It has
wow.
Well,
you've done so much. You've done so much great work. Like, when did you know that you made it as a full-time musician? Like, I can start looking for a house now. Like, what was that moment like?
I'm working at Woolworths and all that stuff as a stock boy. That's when
he went back there. Talking about Woolworths.
He went Woolworths.
In fact, my mother and I,
Well,
the
wait.
same Woolworths, we picketed at same Woolworths years later because of this, the lunch counter stuff down south. Yeah, we picketed. We got them.
Wow. Well. So when it comes to the music, do you have a preference between live and studio? Some artists, some you like both.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you like about the studio work?
Well, it's a discipline art. Like I was blessed to when I was working with Major Harris, a guy named Michael Sugar Bear Foreman was the bass player in the band, and from Sugar Bear he hooked me up with working with Barbara Mason and the Futures, and then Billy Paul again. Because I worked with Billy when we were doing all jazz. In '75, I was working with Billy doing his hits. Then he hooked me up with Teddy Pendergrass, So, and then he taught me about the sound of Philadelphia. And because I knew a lot. Playing a lot of music, a whole lot of notes and stuff. Sugar Bear taught me how to stay in the pocket, stay in my own lane. I'm also a dancer. And I learned how to do that from Otis Givens, to stay in my lane, to do, but it's a discipline, and when it's like this, so cool. You had great musicians from Camden. You had Jimmy Williams, who's a guy who created the bass line for Ain't No Stop This Now. He played on that section. Keith Benson played drums on that section. Ebony's from Camden.
Ebony's, yep.
Also, some of my closest friends are Robert and Wanda Dickinson of Universal African Dance and Drama Ensemble in Camden. You heard of that, right?
Yep.
Karate School? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of my very best friends.
Yeah.
They're younger than me, but I call them my mother and father.
A lot of people don't know Lola Falana was from Camden. She said she's from Philly, but she was
I used to hang out with her brother back in the 50s. We used to go to dance parties.
Wow.
Camden and Philly are so close.
I got a lot of relatives in Camden and Lawton.
My family's still there.
Okay.
My family's still there.
Well, out of all the wonderful songs you played, what are a couple of your favorites?
A piece Teddy did called "Can't We Try." You're my latest and the greatest.
Yes, I was listening to that last week.
He's called "If I Had Somebody to Love Me." Where are all my friends?
Okay.
Nobody can ever take your place. How those everyday activities. So much. You lied, Billy Paul. Billy's Back Home, Billy Paul. I mean, Kashy brought his work. Leon Silver's on the solo stuff, and Tom Tom's work, and Chicago, and on. So many people.
Hey, Vivian, can you hear me?
Yes, I
gotta
can.
ask you.
Okay, Vivian.
What song has Alfie dedicated
Can y'all
to you?
hear me? Because Mom having issues. Can y'all hear me?
Okay, well,
Vivian, what's some of your favorites?
well, Alfie's my favorite,
There you go.
and Stevie Wonder, Phyllis Hyman,
What
Gladys
song?
Knight.
What song do you like to do by Phyllis? The Answer Boy Is You.
The Answer Boy Is You.
And Blue Magic.
I Only Stopped just so we can start all over again. Jealousy by Major Harris. Alfie plays that for me.
Okay, right.
Hope he's not trying to tell me something.
I don't have a jealous bone in my body.
Nice.
In fact, I'm vegan. I don't have no bone. So I never got bone.
Vegan, I ain't got no bones. That's too funny.
You know what, Vivian? I had to ask you this because if you listen to all those titles of songs that you just mentioned, listen to those titles and then listen to the titles that these kids are doing today. There's no comparison. The days that we grew up in and listening to your sound, we talked about relationships. We talked about love. We talked about, even whether it's great love, even painful love, but we talked about great things and talked about our feelings. And that's what's missing out of our music scene today. Because we're still human. We still have those same feelings. We still know what it's like to be in love and be out of love, but we don't express it the same way as we did, listening to your sound growing up. And that's what's really missing. And I think it has changed I think because of that, it's changed the entire courtship, and it's changed the way relationships are even are settled today because we don't have that platform. Now we still do, but we still get to listen to them. But these kids today, they don't have that. They don't have that. And you know what?
Yeah, they're not writing it. They don't write. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't write like that. And Vivian, I love that you said that because one of the key things that I've noticed is that we were able to express our feelings and how we felt about somebody without profanity.
Right.
It just wasn't necessary because it came from the heart. The heart doesn't have profanity. It came from the heart. We talked about our emotions and our feelings and how that person made you feel, and we wrote about it. And we wrote the lyrics, we wrote the music to go along with it. It was a really great, awesome combination. And that's what I said. That music from the 70s and 80s and 90s, I'm telling you, even from the 60s, 70s, and 80s music, that's where the longevity is. And that music is
and those writers had to be a lot more creative because they had to use metaphors to get their point across. Nowadays these writers aren't creative at all, because they don't have to be. Standards and practices have let a lot of stuff slide through in the music, and it took me to adulthood to realize what a lot of these songs really meant. Pull up to the bumper, sugar walls, like all this stuff is using. I'm like, oh, that's what pull up to the bumper meant. Ride the white horse, ride the white pony. I ain't know what none of this stuff meant until I became an adult. So it's like now they make it so the kids know exactly what you're talking about right now because they're not using creative ways to get their points across.
Exactly.
You're right.
Exactly. So I do want to ask for all those that, may not know or understand, what is the Philly sound?
Well, I can illustrate on the keyboard here. Can you all hear it? Okay.
Elfie, play us one of your favorites. I love that. Alfie, you know what I'm going to do? I want to introduce your trio. introduce to our viewers, you're the Elfie Pilot Trio. You know,
Okay.
and I'll let them know that this is some of the phenomenal music. This might be a little bit easier for us because it's that your keyboard is awesome keyboard, but it's kind of phasing in and out a little bit. So and play the I want to play the video of the Elfie Pilot Trio, if you don't mind.
Great. Thank you.
This has got a really, really nice. I love the story of this, and I was looking at this earlier, and I love the story on it. Okay, can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay, I kind of timed it just. Here we go.
My parents gave me lessons, took me to my mom. She was my parents, and she studied with her, Western classical, played the son, got interested in rhythm and blues and jazz, and started learning how to play by ear and listening to the greats.
Alfie, I use the word eccentric. He's very eccentric, and he's been in the business for a long time.
The way that Alfie plays like jazz is a lot different than the way they teach you in school.
We started off rough around the edges because Alfie likes to play Alfie, and then we had to collaborate with a singer and the piano player. You know, when you're playing it's your song, when I'm playing it's my song, and we learned how to come together, and it's working out.
We have a trio, and I feel kind of like I inherited something from people like Art Blakey, Horace Silver, Miles, to have blessed to have young people working, young great talent. Leon Watkins, our bass player. Wade Smith Jr., drummer. Lady Dale, our vocalist. You know, the great powerhouse talent.
Started playing bass actually in the middle school band in like 6th grade, and so we played ever since.
I'm the daughter of the late Benjamin McClinton Jr. and Helen Patricia. I was born and raised in Philadelphia public school system. Then I matriculated to Bennett College to pursue a degree in music education. Then later, I went to Cheney University and got a master's degree in education. I'm currently a special education teacher at Arambe Institute. I'm a classically trained vocalist, and I've been singing ever since childhood.
I work with Slide Hampton. I work with Ruth Brown, Johnny Hart, Billy Paul, Teddy Pendergrass, Sister Sledge, Futures, Barbara Mason, Norman Collins.
Never tried to mimic anyone before, and I don't know exactly who I sound like. I've never studied anybody to sound like them.
Her look, to a lot of us, is similar to the look of Bessie Smith, and she is a great song stylist.
Honestly, I haven't really played with that many singers, so it's hard for me to compare like playing with her and other singers, but I do like it.
The late Eddie Green told me that my voice sounded similar to Roberta Flack, but I used to listen to her as a child. I don't know any particular voice style that I've sounded like.
She reminds me of Gloria Lynch, she reminds me of Ella.
But I listen to all the great artists, Little Jimmy Scott, Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald, Etta Jones, Etta James, Carmen McRae. But I don't hear myself in any of the voices.
Sarah Vaughan,
I like Sarah Vaughan's style the most, sensuous and charismatic. I like her.
I gotta tell you, Alfie,
Yes, sir.
that is so interesting. How to this day you're still, still playing. And what is the future for you? What is it? What is it that you're doing now? You still have your trio?
We have a trio. We haven't played together since before the plague or the pandemic, and but we keep in touch. We all practice on our own, keep our chops up, so when the floodgates open up, God willing, we'll be able to get out there. Also, I've been blessed to one of my partners, Kenneth Salam. We wrote a piece called "It's Our Family Reunion," and Russell Tompkins Jr. of the Stylistics is singing on a song. That's a piece that we feel. Our dream is that it becomes international theme song for family reunions worldwide. Also, a piece that my partners Walter Ray and James Solomon and I came up with called "We Are Free No Longer Bound," a theme for Juneteenth, and we hopefully that'll become an international theme for Juneteenth. Vivian is one of the singers on it. Also, Felicia Wilkins, she's the lead singer on that piece. Now, both of those pieces are pieces that I do not only playing musician, but I program music. I use a program called Logic Pro X. So program all the pieces to try to come as close as I can to a live feel what live musicians would do, and not trying to take work away from anybody, but it's a skill set. Matter of fact, Earl Young of the Tramps, he does drum machine programming, and so for all those haters out there, we're not trying to be like that. We all right. We cool in the gang. One for everybody. Lottie Dottie and everybody. Okay.
I tell you, Alfie, what do you think now that you have doing this for several generations? Where do you think the future of music? Where do you think it's headed? How are these musicians today going to continue playing jazz and they're using computers, using software? I don't see how that's going to blend into playing jazz.
Well, it's a disconnect, but some people, incorporate, technology and real players. Personally, I haven't really done. I play. This keyboard is like a synthesizer, but it's used as a piano when I do gigs or what have you. And I program. I guess I'm part of the problem too, because I love hip hop. Real hip hop. KRS-One and Melly Mel, so on and so forth. I love the real stuff. If it's hip hop, I love the technology. In fact, Will Smith's father produced our first CD, our trio, and
did you say Will Smith's father?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we call him Daddy-O. He passed away a few years ago, but he produced our first. He wanted us to do a jazz CD, all original pieces. So we did 10 original pieces.
Wow.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that too. And you said that you also like hip hop. I'm from the DC area. What do you think about our music, the go-go music?
Oh, sure, yeah. Sure.
Chuck Brown. You ever had to play with anybody that has like a go-go flair?
Well, a friend of mine named Sparky Martin, he's doing. Is my mic muted?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, a guy named Sparky Martin. Sparky, he called me. He's doing some go-go stuff, like redoing it. Like a comeback. In fact, Sparky is the guy that came up with the concept of women's only concerts for Teddy Pendergrass. Back in the day. He's a concert. Teddy would hire black concert promoters to do the shows as well as white promoters, and Sparky Teddy Powell out of Newark, W.G. William Garrison out of the South, like Louisiana, Texas, all that places. You know, but Sparky came up with that concept. That's what Sparky told me.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, because I hear like go-go music, like Jill Scott, you know, Philly girl Jill Scott, her song It's Love that incorporates go-go. Beyonce is Crazy in Love. So we can hear the go-go influences and a lot of artists' work. So yeah, it's just a trip how every area has their own sound, you know. Like
Smokey Robinson going to a go-go.
Yes, that's too funny.
I'm sorry.
It's too funny. I miss my Philly sound so bad. I'm here in Tampa, but when I'm working, I put on WDAS and stream all day because I need to feel like I'm back home a little bit. Like I need to listen to some Patty Jackson all day, and you know, because a lot of they don't play that stuff down here. They don't. So I'm missing, you know, hearing all the Teddy Pendergrass and the Luther Vandross and all the old stuff that just like, man, this is what my mom used to make me wake up and clean them baseboards too. Like I'm let me not have a flashback like I'm gonna get a whooping, but this feels good.
Yeah, that's why I love satellite radio. That's why when Alfie mentioned Kashif, I was riding yesterday and satellite radio was playing Kashif. So that also lets us
did you know that Kashif started out as a keyboard player for Stephanie Mills?
Wow.
When we was on the road together, you know, I remember we was in Vegas and he announced to the band, because we all hung out together, bands. And he said, he got a deal for us producing and songwriting. So he went, and the rest is history.
Wow. And Elton John was the piano player for Patti LaBelle.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Oh,
yeah.
Elton John.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't know that. He had a lot of soul in him.
Oh,
Crazy.
yeah.
A lot of soul. That boy can play.
He can play.
That's the thing. I'm glad you said that, Alicia, because that's one of the things I like about artists in general. Even though that we are still dealing with a lot of racism, you know, in this country, but one of the things I loved about dealing with artists and growing up and meeting all of these different musicians, and even like, you know, dealing with the legends like Elfie and Benjamin Wright and Johnny Cream. And speaking of Johnny called me earlier and wanted to apologize. He wanted to say hello to you, Elfie, and that he'll connect with you.
Okay.
But what I was talking about racism, we still have prominent racism to this day. Here it is, 2021, and we're still dealing with it. And I think that if it wasn't for the music that you have gave us in this lifetime, this is how we were able to survive. Because I'm gonna tell you, there's not a day that doesn't go by I don't listen to music. Just like you, Shonda, I grew up listening to slow jams every day. I'm listening to music all day, even when I'm working. And it's all that old school, all the old school music. And that's one of the things I love, because I grew up listening to a lot of the pop artists, country artists, blues rock, just like you did, Alfie, and a lot of musicians. And when we met up and ever hooked up, you know what the first thing we wanted to do? We shake hands. How you doing? Let's jam. That's how I was back in the day. You want to jam. Nobody thought about your race, that you black, white, whatever the case would be. We wanted to play.
Right.
Just have a good time, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really what's missing from we lost that era. And we lost that sense of art is here for enjoyment. Everything that you're a sculptor, you're a painter, you're a producer, you're a musician. It's for enjoyment. It's a connection for all of us people around the world to be able to connect to and be able to share our feelings and our thoughts and express it in a musical tone. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is.
And music and athletics are two areas where people can bridge the racial gaps and become teammates and comrades regardless of race.
Exactly.
That's two areas that are so beautiful about that. They're your brother, they're your sister. None of that other stuff matters.
Well, there's the studio band for Philly International MFSB, Mother, Father, Sister, Brother Band, was a multiracial band, and they're on all so many hits records, you know, all around the world. And I was in the studio a lot with them, and watched them, and it's like them like bust on each other, but it was no hating or racism stuff, you know.
Yeah. Yep. True. Well,
And they're all some blue-eyed soul brothers. And
Sure
soul
enough.
sisters too.
Yes, there is.
Sure enough. There's some good ones out there.
And they're not smoking mirrors either.
Nah, they the real deal. We grew up with some of them. But we have come to the end of another fantastic show today. Mr. Pollard, I want to thank you so much for blessing us with your presence and your gifts today.
It's my pleasure.
It is always so good to hear and learn from our greats. And I am truly blessed to have had the opportunity to speak with you and to hear you play. Before we get out of here, though, would you like to give any shout outs or holler at anybody?
Yeah, my sister Carolyn Pollard Smith, my nephews Aaron and Tony Pollard, my songwriting partners, James Solomon, and on.
All righty, man.
So many people. Where to stop?
No, you're fine. Miss Vivian, would you like to say hello to anybody?
Yes, I would like to say hello to my children, Ian and Asia, and Christine and Bruce.
Hey, Miss Vivian's kids.
Hey. Miss Vivian, where'd you grow up? Since you're a great singer, where'd you grow up?
I'm from the bottom, Mantua in West Philly.
Uh-huh.
Philly.
West
And
Philly.
I've lived all over Philadelphia, though. I lived in North Philly. So I've been all over Philly.
And who are some of the other artists you sang with?
Oh, okay. I did a show. I was a Marvelette.
Whoa.
Well, right now.
I sang with the Platters.
Okay.
I did a show. I opened up for Blue Magic.
Come on now.
Vivian, before you go any further, why don't you come to our and be a guest on our show?
That'd be nice.
Yeah, we'd like to have you as a guest on our show. That's I love it.
We'll have enough time to do you justice.
Exactly.
We need some more time to dive in and talk to Miss Vivian and get all up in your background.
I'm like, yeah, she needs her hour.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, Alicia. Shout them out.
What, my handles?
Yeah. All that.
Okay, on Instagram, you can find me at Alicia Cooper and the number 2 at the end. And my Twitter is just Alicia Cooper. And I'm on Facebook too. But go to my YouTube page, Alicia Cooper, and subscribe and click the notification bells because I'm always putting new videos up.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, AJ.
I want to say thank you, Elfie. It's just been a pleasure, man. I loved it talking to you and listening to your awesome, fantastic journey. Thank you, Vivian, also for joining us. And I definitely will be talking to you very soon to get you on our show. And I want to say thank you to Shonda and also to Alicia for taking the time out of your day to grace our viewers. And our viewers, I just wanted to let you know that this is actually our last day on the StreamYard. We'll be on a new platform starting on next week. And the nice thing about it, you will be able to download our segments on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're still waiting to get back on iHeartRadio. We used to be on iHeart, but we will be back on again. That'll probably be starting in May. And also you can reach us on Pandora as well. So I want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's here, all of our family members, all of our friends, our viewers, and also to my daughters, both of my daughters, Toya and Lexi. So quick shout out to Gail. I got to give a shout out.
Shout out to Gail. Hey, and also along with Gail, I want to give a shout out to my cousins, Tunza, also known as Mr. Blast Jam. He has a phenomenal group. And my other cousin, cousin through a cousin, Justin J. Bliss, who is a very funny comedian. They are listening with Gail. So shout y'all out. Hey, cousins. And thank you all again so much for joining us on the Max Mobile Celebrity Podcast.
Yes, and we will see you next week at the same time at 12 o'clock on Eastern Standard Time on the Max Mobile Celebrity Podcast. I want everybody to have themselves a great weekend. I want everybody to stay safe, stay sanitized, stay smart. We'll see you all next week. Everybody have a great weekend. Take care.
That was nice.